afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Get Hired, Stay Hired. This is a show for executive job seekers who want the edge in their job search. We do not talk about writing CVs or job boards. We talk about everything from mindset to marketing, standing out, your visibility. And for those of you who commonly watch the show, you'll notice that is not Vanessa with me. That is actually Tom Wood, who I'm going to introduce in just a second. Vanessa's having a lovely time coming back from a lovely long weekend celebrating her birthday. My name's Sarah Farmer. I'm an executive coach and I work with senior leaders and leadership teams, helping them develop the right level of confidence, the skills, the emotional intelligence and the tools to make sure that they can create environments where everyone can thrive. But I also do a lot of work with senior leaders, helping them get into roles and keeping them longer as well. So I'm delighted and honoured to be joined by Tom Wood today, who is the CEO and founder of Talent Matched. And Tom today is coming to help us all understand more about the benefits, the power of using AI in the recruitment process. So I'm not going to say much about you, Tom, because I'd love you to be able to explain a little bit more about Talent Matched, what it is, and a little bit more about yourself. I can still hear noise going on in the background, by the way. Just I don't know if you can. I don't know if the.
All right. Yeah. I don't know if it's.
It's only paper.
You hear that?
Yeah, paper shuffling and all sorts.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can adjust the settings then, so we don't have background noise.
Thank you.
While
you're doing that, just to let you know, Tom has, I'm going to read some of your 2 decades in recruitment in April. You've built and scaled multiple ventures, and as recently we're into Talent Matched. Oh, he's on the move as well. And this Talent
I'm on the move.
Allows you to instantly assess, shortlist, and engage candidates at scale. Neutral, sustainable.
Here we go. Right, I've moved.
Right. Who are you? What do you do?
Right. Yeah, right. Apologies about that. So yeah, I was trying to get my noise cancelling, and it clearly wasn't noise cancelling. So what do I do? So I'm a 20-something year recruitment veteran. I've built recruitment companies, exited recruitment companies. In the COVID, so January 2020, my wife and I launched our own recruitment business. We scaled that quite quickly. But in that period, we saw probably a heightened level of inefficiency in recruitment. And I say a heightened level. A lot of the inefficiency that we saw was always there. I don't think it was anything new. But it was heightened with COVID. It was heightened with virtualization, work from home, some of those new things that came in. And whilst we were on that journey, whilst it was great and it was successful, and we were doing a really it was a great business, we suddenly saw kind of what I predicted was the transition coming. And for me, I felt as though we either dug in recruitment and kept doing what we were doing, or we adapted and we jumped on board with this kind of new wave of technology and innovation. And that's what we did. And we jumped on board the AI train. And it, I suppose for us, it gave us the opportunity to do more in an industry where we always were doing a lot, but within our own little spectrum. So we were doing a lot within tech recruitment and technology recruitment, but it gave us an opportunity to suddenly go, actually, we can impact the job market, we can impact job searchers, we can help people, we can do a lot more in the industry. And that's what we did. We launched our first platform, which was the Hub, which is a job searcher support platform, all AI powered. It helps job searchers overcome the challenges of the job market. So how to get seen, how to create value propositions, how to create CVs, resumes, elevator pitches, all these kind of things, practice interviews, all that stuff. We launched that. That was great. 80,000 members, 37 countries, top 5 job search support platforms globally.
That's called the Hub.
So that was great. That's called the Hub, yeah. And that's still running today, and it's there, and it's doing great, and it's helping lots of people. On that journey, we suddenly realized that we were fixing a problem over here for the job searchers. So we were fixing this problem in terms of getting seen and ensuring they could get to the top of the lists and get interviews and those kind of challenges. But we actually realized there was 2 problems. So one is the job searcher problem. The second one is the hiring company problem. It's a problem. It's the issue that the job searchers had was excessive applications. How do I get seen? Historically, I was one of 30. Now I'm one of 500, one of 1,000. How do I get seen? And that same problem is over here for the recruitment companies and the hiring companies, where they used to get 30 applicants. Now they're getting 1,000. Now they're getting 10,000. So it's the same problem, but from two different perspectives. So we'd addressed it here with the hub. Part of our technology in the hub was a job matching technology. We took that job matching technology, we repurposed it, and then we launched Talent Matched, which is our B2B proposition. So Talent Match is solving the same problem, but from the hiring company, from the recruitment company. It's dealing with inbound, it's processing, and it's reducing the manual work for people. It's ensuring that job searchers get seen, get qualified, get assessed equally, fairly. It's ensuring that nobody gets ghosted, no one gets missed, everyone gets communicated to. The hiring team no longer have to trawl through applications. Our system does it for them. So it's removing that problem, and it's been a huge success. I mean, the uptake on Talent Match since we launched in about May time has been phenomenal. Just everybody is realizing there is a problem here. And we've now created a solution. We can plug this into any ATS, any CRM, and it's solving that problem of high levels of applications. For both job search.
Well, firstly, says congratulations. It sounds fantastic, and congratulations on the success you've had so far. And I can absolutely see the problem, and it does look and sound like you're solving that problem. With it comes some fear. So I just want to let anyone's watching now, do say hello. What we always do on this show is let people introduce themselves, say what jobs they're looking for, because we never know who's watching, and you never know who might be, looking, and they might need an or somebody. So say hello if you're out there. And also, what questions do you have for Tom around AI interviews? Also, maybe around the hub as well. I wasn't aware of that, and actually, no, it's fine.
Sorry,
it's a bonus. A lot of our listeners and exec job seekers may not have heard of it, and it might be brilliant for them. So be really good if they can get the information for the hub. Maybe they can contact you afterwards on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
While we're waiting for people to say hello, be brave enough to say hello or ask their questions. My question for you straight away is around the no one gets ghosted, all right? Because one of the questions and the frustration we have on this show is people saying, well, I applied, I'm waiting, no one says anything. And then if they do, the feedback is shocking, as in it's not consistent or it's rubbish. So if no one gets ghosted, there's an automated response, I'm guessing, that says you've got to the next level or you haven't. Is that how it works?
Any communication really. So the frustration, I think, for lots of job searchers, it goes back to the sheer volume. So the sheer volume now of applicants per job is creating an overwhelm for recruiters, and it's that overwhelm is actually creating bad habits. It's creating gaps in the process, and that was part of what we wanted to solve with Talent Matched. Was we don't want people to be missed. We don't want people to be ghosted. We don't want there to be that breakdown in communication for various reasons. For the hiring company, there's a negativity around the brand. So lots of people start to moan and grumble, and Trustpilot, whatever it may be, giving bad reviews. Glassdoor is a big one. But also for the job searcher, that frustration of just not knowing, not hearing, well, tell me why I'm wrong. And, So what we've done with Talent Matched is we use AI, we use large language models, and we're able to provide personalized feedback for every single applicant, regardless of what stage they're at of that process. So if they get shortlisted, they will get a message to say, you've been shortlisted for this role. You're a great fit for this role because of this, this, and this. And it gives them that insight. So it's not a generic, you're through to the next stage. It actually will say, you've been selected because this, this, and this. You've now been shortlisted. So it's telling people why they've been selected. Now, on the flip side of that, if they are rejected, again, it will be personalized to them. So it will say, hi, Sarah, whilst your experience is great in this, this, and this, you appear to be lacking in this particular area. If you were to pursue roles in this area, we would suggest following certificates or training or development in these particular areas. So it gives a little bit of constructive feedback as well. Now, it's all produced by AI, it's all driven by LLMs, and the beauty of that is it's got an endless resource available to be able to make those assessments, to be able to use that intelligence. So anybody's profile, will be looked at by AI. It will be looked at in comparison to the job description, and they're given personalized and specific feedback to them and about that specific job every single time. And the beauty of this as well is, even if people don't want to manually look at people's profiles, because you can still manually look at people's profiles, if you just wanted to automate it, you can automate it, and you can say, right, I want anybody at, say, 75% and above to go through to the shortlist. I want everybody below 75% to be rejected. All of those 75% and below, there could be 1 million of them. They will all get personalized responses specific to them, specific to the job, telling them exactly why they aren't right and what they need to do if they were going to pursue roles in that sector.
I really like that. I mean, it's impersonal, but at least they're getting something. And as I said, one of the biggest issues is people are being ghosted. And actually, I talk a lot about imposter syndrome and people feeling less and less valuable and valued. So that at least gives them something that says, right, and I now know what to do. So that's absolutely superb.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's impersonal in a sense that it isn't a real person delivering the feedback, but I would argue that it is personal in the sense that it's specific to them, it's not generic, it's not a template, it's using AI, it's using large language models to assess their application against the job, and it's giving them proper insight. It's giving them feedback, it's giving them insight, it's giving them constructive criticism around where they should go. So I would add it potentially is more personal than what a person would give. And I think this is probably the kind of the concern around AI is because it isn't a person doing it. But I think we need to probably unpick that a bit, and we can do that in this session.
Have a look at there's some questions coming through which we're going to look at, but I think I agree. Hearing you say that, it is more personal, and actually, how many individual humans would bother to go to the detail to say it's this, and this that you're missing, and you need to that. So no, I like it.
I think and I think the interesting thing on that as well. And this is where I look at it from having the hub. So I've got two platforms, that one supports job search and one supports the hiring company. So I'm kind of neutral, if you like, in terms of where I sit. And my kind of perspective when I look at it is everybody's using AI to either support their application, or they're using AI to apply en masse. So if you look at it from that perspective, you go, okay, well, they're using it over here. So why can't we use it over here to level the playing field? And I think that's where there has to be this kind of mutual understanding of it. But and this is the big but, there is a lack of education and awareness, and that's not any individual's fault, by the way. That's actually the industry's fault. There's a lack of awareness and a lack of education around how AI actually works. And that's the bit that we need to really nail, because I think if everybody went, oh, okay, that's how it works, they probably would be going, that's great, I'm happy for that, But because there's this lack of awareness, people just are still unsure of what it's doing. And
leads to uncomfortableness and almost against it. It's classic change, isn't it? It's, if you can tell me why and how, I'll understand it and I'll probably buy into it. And you're right. Why should one side benefit from AI and not the other?
Well, and you might come to it, but Randall's question there is perfect, really, because he talks about that ghosting is an issue on one side. It's driven by the volume, as I said. Perhaps it's people not being realistic with what they're applying for. So what's happening in the industry right now, and this is where there's lots of problems, is people are desperate. So if we look at some of the stats right now, I think there's there's more job searchers globally than there are jobs. So you've got this imbalance in terms of ratios. So, and I can't remember what the ratio is currently, maybe 3 to 1. So for every 3 job searchers, there's 1 job globally.
And is that
so
all levels?
In that
Tom,
situation,
is that, or is it
kind of a global collective? So if you took the number of live vacancies today, you would find there's probably 3 people applying to every single job globally. So there's a bit of an imbalance there, and the problem with that is desperation. The problem with that is fear. The problem with that is people cutting corners, which Randall kind of points out. People cutting corners in their job application process. So what's happening is people are going, do you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to apply to a job. So the standard process is 8 o'clock in the evening. People get in from work, from the kids. They've had dinner. Kids have gone to bed. They sit down and glass of wine, bottle of beer, whatever it may be, and they log on to LinkedIn and they go onto the job section. And most people don't want to spend half an hour filling out an application. So they go easy apply. And the process is this. They sit there going, click, 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 and they'll do 300 in half an hour. They'll do 300. Or what's happening now is you're getting these AI platforms called fast apply, speed apply, mass apply. They're basically saying, look, upload your LinkedIn, upload your CV, pay us £50 a month, and we'll send your CV to 30,000 jobs on your behalf. So they're just chucking mud at the wall. And that's created this huge problem. So it's created a bottleneck. And that's where you've got a negative by is just spamming people out. What it's doing, and this is where the education piece comes in, that isn't AI in the truest form. That is keyword and key skill matching. So what they'll do is they'll take someone's CV and they'll go, oh, you've got banking in your CV. We're going to send your CV to every single job out there that requires the word banking. Now that could be land banking, that could be investment banking, it could be retail banking, completely different. But they'll just spam the CV.
At the wall, and does this explain why? And I just want to share Randall's end of this question because I don't think you can see it, but I can.
No,
but does it explain why sometimes when you go and look at jobs, because sometimes I play and think, oh, I'd like a real job one day. And I love my job and I don't want to move. And you go on, it's like 500 applicants already. That is literally just people clicking apply. But let's the end of Randall's question is about this growing issue on companies going out to test the market, but then he's then withdrawing the roles at the last minute or suddenly giving the role to an internal candidate. There seems a huge amount of that going on. I'm not sure that's anything that can be controlled by AI, and it's a different topic, isn't it, altogether?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, companies generally, companies will advertise jobs, and part of that process can be HR. So it can be HR going, we have to advertise externally before we hire internally, or we have to advertise internally before we hire externally. So it depends on the company policy. So there is some of that happens. They will advertise. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because the people in the industry like myself and yourself, we probably understand some of the inner workings of the sector and of the industry more so than the job searcher. The job searcher, and rightly so, just cares about themselves. And that's absolutely paramount. They should be caring about themselves.
Yeah.
When you look at it from a hiring company perspective, you put a job out, you advertise a job, or you sign a job off internally. You basically look at the routes to market. How do I get the best person for this job as quickly as possible? Now, I know from doing that job for 20 odd years, I'm going to go, right, referrals, recommendations. Who do I know? What do they know? I'm going to post on LinkedIn. I'm going to put it on a job board. I'm going to get some recruiters working on it for me, doing some proactive outreach. We're going to start some campaigns. We're going to do some projects. You've got multiple irons in a fire when you're hiring that job. Now, somebody comes along and they just see one advert and they apply to that job. In their mind, they're going, this is great. I'm great for this job.
Yes, nice.
There's 10 other streams working in the background because the hiring company's going, we just need to fill this job with the best person as quickly as possible. So they're not going to put all their eggs in one basket.
No. So does that mean, and I'm thinking about something like the hub again then, if you want to stand out when all these streams are going on, potential interval, you really have got to shine in that
Absolutely.
application. Well, anything you can, and Vanessa and I talk about this all the time, anything you can do before as well as during the process and after is absolutely vital.
And this is where the hub is helpful, and I think actually, you know, people when they're talking to job searchers, there's two parts here. Number one is only apply to jobs that you are genuinely a good fit for, and when I say that, I'm talking about 75% upwards.
Okay.
You know, if you're applying to a job that you're 50% right for, you're probably not going to get selected, and you're probably not going to get seen.
But
and I think
most people are looking for unicorns. I looked at one yesterday, which I would be perfect for. All right, it's a director's role at Novo Nordisk, just in case they're listening. I'll be absolutely perfect for it. However, when I went through everything, it would be so rare unless you'd run a company like mine and done everything I'd done in my company to ever be able to do all of that. It's insane what they're asking for. So I think there's also, you know, from a recruiter side, is let's get realistic. Let's stop asking for.
But that's driven through fear. That's driven through the company's nervousness about making the wrong hires, and that's also something that's happened because of COVID. So you remember in sort of the 2020 to maybe 2021, 2022 period, we had this huge hiring surge where everybody was really excited that we could hire people all over the world. And everyone got really excited that we hired all these people. And then what happened is everyone went, shit, we don't need all these people. We've hired too many people. Let's now make mass layoffs. And they cut all these people. And that's still going on today. And there's still a correction of that. The IT, the tech space is still recovering from that. And there's still big layoffs. AI's now come in. There's additional layoffs. So there is this hangover with that, where there's this nervousness about hiring. There's this nervousness about getting it wrong. There's this nervousness about overspending. And with that comes this ridiculous unicorn list of, but we need this, and we need this, and we need this. And the problem with that, and we have this conversation a lot with companies using our platform, because they go, well, we just can't find anybody at 90%. And we turn around and go, well, you're not going to, because the list is so unreasonable, but it's driven through fear. It's driven through these companies being so scared to hire the wrong person, being so scared to get it wrong, they create this ridiculous list of things they want. But it's not realistic, and that's why sometimes you see the same jobs being reposted, the same jobs that put out again and again and again, because they're just. But every time they put them out, there's a slight deviation until finally they get it right.
Unicorn. So this leads into a lot of the work that I do, building trust within the leadership team, and actually knowing what job you're looking for, and having the confidence in yourselves to hire properly for the right reason. Don't get me started on that. I could go for ages. Right, we've got lots of questions and comments coming in. Fiona, welcome Fiona, and hello Melinda, nice to see you as well. So Fiona hasn't applied for a job for ages, feels very unsure about applying. It's daunting. What else does it say at the end of yours? Oh, I've lost it. Bear with Fiona. Right, what should I be focusing on to improve my LinkedIn profile? I don't know if you're a LinkedIn profile expert or whether actually this is where it comes in to say.
Look, there's the hub will help, Fiona, definitely. What I would always say to anybody when it comes to LinkedIn profiles, your LinkedIn profile is your shop window. That's how to view it. It's your shop window. So people are walking down the street, they're looking at various shop windows, that a glimpse here, a glimpse there. You need to grab their attention. So now think about that from the perspective of the sector, the job, the career you want. You are never, ever going to appeal to everybody. So think about, I want to be in this place. This is the job I do. So how do I bring them in? So your shop window, how do I bring them in so they come and see more? You've got to give them enough information to entice them, and you've got to do it quickly. You know, we talk about elevator pitches, all those kind of things. You need to make sure that what your profile is saying is enough about you to get somebody to stop and look, listen, read a bit more, pay a bit more attention. And that's about focusing. That's about really ensuring, and I talk about this two ways. You need to promote yourself for the job that you want to be in. So you need to highlight all the things that make you great for the job that you want. So think about that. What does that look like? What do I need to do? You know, and then promote yourself. And I talk about outcomes, talk about impact. Nobody cares about fluff. Nobody cares about the kind of the warm, fluffy, nice. No one cares. Impact, results. You know,
what have you done? How have you done it?
But make it really clear, really obvious, and make it so it stands out. You know, people need to see it quickly, clearly, concisely, enough for them to go, okay, yeah, I'll have a look. I'll have a bit more of a deeper look. And once they have the deeper look, they might get the case studies, the projects, the white papers, you know, all the videos that you've got in your featured section of your profile, all the stuff that's going to go, wow, okay, all the recommendations at the bottom. That's the stuff that's going to get you the interview.
Yeah, and this is where, I mean, that's brilliant. Thank you. I hope that helps, Fiona. A lot of people aren't using LinkedIn a lot at all because they're not comfortable with it. A lot of people are slightly imposter-led in that they don't feel able to put the number out there or that high impact thing. So what I would say to you is please listen to Tom. And if you are struggling with the confidence side of things, read my book. Oh, where's it gone? There. Read my book. You can't see it. It's there.
There it is. There it is.
Because you need the confidence, because one of the things, even when you're selling yourself or selling a product or anything, you've got to be clear who you're calling to. And it took me years to be confident enough to niche and say, these are the people I work with. Yeah. This is what I do. This is the impact I have. So we need to do that in our job seeker.
It's difficult, and you know, look, I think people that are out of work, you ultimately don't care, you know, and as long as you can pay the bills, as long as you can feed the kids, you don't care. And I think that's where there is this balance, isn't there, of, you know, mass applying and just getting anything, but also doubling down on your particular area. And, you know, I still believe that doubling down, keeping it niche, keeping it narrow, highlighting your strengths, highlighting your impacts, your outcomes, utilizing that network, you will have more chance doing that than if you just do the spray and pray.
Yeah, yeah, that is it. We highly recommend you do not do that. Scattergunning does not work. Robert says this is killing those of us who are religiously applying with a refined CV. I would offer that it's also getting more difficult to apply for a role without using Easy Apply, i.e. cannot get through to recruiters. There are no contact details. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, there's it's difficult, isn't it? Because, you know, you get told different bits of advice and different bits of guidance here. People always go, yeah, reach out to the recruiter directly, try and get hold of the hiring manager. The problem with that is people don't want that necessarily. The recruiters, the hiring managers don't want to be bombarded. You know, if you think about a hiring manager, recruitment isn't their full-time job. Recruitment's a kind of a thing they have to do as part of their job. You know, I've had it, people ringing me out the blue and I'm like, I'm trying to build my platform. You know, I'm on a product call. You know, you don't want that kind of constant communication. So there is a challenge here around what's the right thing to do and what's not the right thing to do. I think subtle communication is okay. LinkedIn message, you know, create an elevator pitch, value prop, you know, supporting your application, all those kind of things I think are good. But I think, you know, refined CV, those kind of things, you know, Easy Apply is quick and fast. Yes. Is it the most quality, credible route for an application? Probably not. So it's a balance. You know, it is a balance. Personally, I think just my rule of thumb is only apply to jobs that you know you're 75 and 80% fit for. Yes, do some realignment of your CV, but and this is where things like talent match are now powerful. This isn't about keywords and key skills. They're talking about refined CVs. Those, you know, our platform is contextual. It's semantic. It will look at the logic. It will do a full understanding. It will be able to interpret, you know, what someone is saying without them saying it. It will recognize things that might not be there. It uses intuition. So the whole kind of redefining CVs and doing this, yeah, people talk about, you know, the white space on CVs and doing white text so you get through the keyword barriers. Complete nonsense.
Oh, right.
Complete nonsense. Yeah, complete nonsense.
Wow. Okay. So Malcolm, hi Malcolm. The internal candidate issue is becoming a pain. I've had external recruiters inform me that my application has been referred for an interview due to the firm changing. Oh, it hasn't been referred for an interview. The firm changing their mind and picking someone from inside the firm who's come late to the party. This is life. This happens a lot. And it's back to what you said about all these different streams going on above the advert.
Yeah.
I just wish there could be a bit more honesty and we didn't have to, as an organization, hire out because that's the right thing to do when we know damn well we're going to hire internally if we can? Why not try? I mean,
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because look, I've always said it's easier to hire somebody internally than it is to go external from a cost perspective, from a budget perspective. They know the business, they know the culture. You probably only have to give them a small uplift, whereas externally you probably have to pay market rate. There's all these different things. The training and development of somebody externally coming in, you're probably not looking at an ROI for 3, 6, 9, 12 months on that person. So you're always going to hire internally if you can. I think there could be more transparency around the relevant streams they're following. So look, yes, we are engaging agencies. Yes, we do have several adverts out. Yes, we are looking internal. At least that would give a little bit of expectation management. But, and again, this is where I wear my two hats. Job searchers don't necessarily do that when they're talking to companies. They don't go to companies going, okay, now look. So I'm talking to 25 different companies, and I'm talking to and this is my top 5, and you're number 15, and you're kind of a bit crap, but I'll take you if you offered me.
No, it's a fair point.
You don't do that. So I do feel like there is this game, isn't there, from both sides? There is this game of keeping our cards close to our chest, and again, rightly so. But it's difficult because you kind of go, well, how do we stop each other doing that? I don't know.
Well, do we even need to have to stop each other? Because actually, listening to you talk that through, why don't we just sort of accept we know the game we're playing? That it is actually far more transparent. We just forget when we're applying that. And I doubt if they forget it the other way around. Maybe they do, but we forget when we're applying that there are all these other streams we're looking at, and there's a chance to forget it.
Well, if you look at the flip side as well, sorry, just to go back to that point, I know from my many years in recruitment, the amount of times that I've got a job searcher to a final interview and to an offer, and then it turns out the job searcher stays where they are. And the reason they stay where they are is they were using this offer as leverage to get more money, or they were using this leverage to get the promotion that they were hoping they were going to get. And so, there is this.
Right. You are so right. And actually, I guess we hear a very a one-sided view here, and I love all our listeners and I support them wholeheartedly. But we must remember there are plenty of people playing games out there as well.
But I suppose and this is where it's, and I can wear both hats because of my two different platforms.
Yeah.
Everybody is looking out for themselves, and that's where the business is looking out for the business. The job searcher is looking out for the job searcher. You might have recruitment companies in the middle that are kind of trying to juggle it, but so it's very, very difficult. Nobody is playing with a straight bat, and I think that's the reality. Nobody is going, listen guys, I'm coming into this interview because I'm trying to get a promotion in my current company and I want to get this offer, but I'm probably not going to take it because I want to stay here. You're not, and even as a recruiter, you talk to a candidate and you're trying to go, well, which one's your best one, and would you, if you could get this much money, would you go there? And then they completely 360 and do something else. But for me, I kind of go, that's their prerogative. They're looking after themselves. They're looking after their family.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I was starting to have quite a biased opinion of it all, and you have just helped me balance my bias. So thank you. Randall, what are your thoughts on using AI to tailor your CV towards a job description to create the perfect match? Well, I would say if it's all true, don't lie. Let's ask the expert. What do you think?
So I think the truth thing is for me what it comes down to, because actually what's happening now with AI, and we're actually developing a product on our platform to do this. You can have AI detection, so we're able to spot AI usage, and you can do that through language, you can do that through terminology. It's a lot of it. So if you look at the different systems like DeepSeek, Gemini, Claude, Grok, OpenAI, of course, they've all got their own set kind of language and their own set terminology. So it's very easy to detect that. If you've got a tool that is looking for AI usage, you can detect the language and the terminology and the phrases and the referencing. You can detect it, and how they put sentences together. So for me, it's like, look, if you've got the skills, absolutely, because AI, and we all do this, we all write an email and we go, "Oh, can you just tidy that up for me and make that look a bit more professional?" It's great for that, but don't lie, and don't try and mislead. So as long as you've got the skills and you can back up the skills, and as long as you've got the experience and you can back up the experience, use AI and use it to align and use it to make sure that you are fitting the right roles. Because look, absolutely, even with our contextual AI, where it isn't keyword key skill, you have to have the best profile for that job. You have to make sure that it's the best looking fit. It's not buzzwords, but it still has to kind of say the right thing and come from the right area and have the right trajectory, and but absolutely use it to polish it. Just don't lie.
And what I do, I mean, I use it a lot with my work, but for writing articles and all sorts of things. But I put all my information in, and then I get it to tidy up. I'm dyslexic, so it's really helpful. Sentences together and no spelling mistakes. But then I reword it as me, so it still has all the key stuff in there, and we can do that. So
and AI is becoming more and more powerful. So I use ChatGPT a lot for research purposes and everything else, and I've trained it now on me. So I've trained it on my tone of voice. I've trained it on the things that I look for, the things I'm interested in. And every now and then I'll kind of get it to kind of go back and recap and produce a bit of a kind of an overview of me as a person. And it's so accurate. And it will write letters now in my tone of voice, and you can probably tell I'm quite outspoken. I'm quite opinionated. And it will do things. It will do things in that way.
I wish you'd stop being so shy. I really would, because it's really hard. So regarding the unicorn factor, is this leadership enabled to decide on candidate who might be the right fit? From my point of view, as a leadership skills trainer and educator, absolutely. From the recruiting side.
I think it is. I think it's indecisiveness. I think it's nervousness. I think it's people not necessarily agreeing on what they want.
And maybe they don't know what they want. Or, Tom, I'll ask you this, is how many people get to write job description and they just, God, I don't want to say this right, they're in HR, but they're not right at the top level. They don't know exactly what's going on, and they do their best fit, or they're just reusing from an old job description.
Well, you'll be amazed how hard it is within a business to get the hiring manager to write a job description.
Oh, I bet. Because they don't know, they're not brave enough. What if they get it wrong? Is it imposter syndrome in their brain, not being able to? They're procrastinating, aren't they?
And they probably don't have time. Again, we've got to think about the hiring, and again, I've been guilty of this, and I've built recruitment companies and I've hired lots of people, but hiring is a pain. Hiring is when it isn't your main job. Hiring is one of those things you're kind of like, oh, okay, I've got to do it. And you want the outcome, you want the benefit, but the bit in the middle of actually writing a job description, reviewing applications, doing some interviews, it's time consuming. And
so important. That's part of their bloody
so important. Oh, I know, it's so important. But this is the problem. And I've done lots of recruitment into sales, so sales teams. Sales leaders care about revenue, they care about growth, they care about deals, pipeline. When you say to that sales leader, "Oh, can you write a job description?" They're like, "Really?" And then what happens is you plagiarize a job description that's already out there on the internet. You just copy and paste and go, "That'll do." And then what happens, of course, is they've put this job description out that's completely irrelevant to the job they're hiring for. So the applications that are coming in are completely wrong. There's a mismatch. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks down the line, the hiring manager's going, why are these applicants so poor? Why are we not getting? And you have to then go back and go, because you didn't write the bloody job description.
I've just been looking up on LinkedIn. A very good friend of mine works for, and I don't know if this is a competitor to you, I don't think it is, but a company called Role Mapper, which is worth having a look at. That's ROLE, MAPPER. And they help organizations, as far as I can remember, create job descriptions that are actually worthy of the job. And I think if we help people, I mean, I just think as the leader, it's part of your bloody job, get on and do it. And actually, if you look at how getting the right person in at the right time helps you achieve your goals, what they haven't done is link the two together. But that's my job to own.
Well, I mean, look, we've also added a capability onto Talent Match now where hiring companies can use our AI to write a job description. So we saw this. We saw this was a problem, that people were struggling to get accurate job descriptions. They were struggling to get hiring managers. That they were using outdated job descriptions. So a lot of teams might have this kind of folder of the kind of roles they typically hire. So what we've created on our platform now. So when a company posts a job, we've actually got the ability now. We use skills taxonomies. So we've got skills taxonomies linked to our platform. So it can they're called skills taxonomies.
Okay.
So we've plugged these in now. So you can type in like, I don't know, leadership coach, for example, and it will give you the best suited skills for a leadership coach role. You can fill in some sections at the top. So you can say, right, I want a leadership coach. It's going to be remote, UK country, UK remote. You can say, seniority, etc. Click produce, and the AI will write you what is deemed to be the best job description using the large language models, using the internet, using the AI, all of the clever things, and it will create that job description. You can manually override it. You can add bits in, but it will give essentially the best job description for that job.
Sorry about the dogs barking. It always happens on here. We are out of time, but if you're happy to carry on just to answer a few more questions.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So Melinda, thank you for adding that. Yeah, the unicorn indeed. So yeah, it's difficult out there. They do expect an awful lot, and people are expecting you to do more for less because they know it's on their side, isn't it? So Robert said, so no how on LinkedIn, just what and outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Impact. Treat it as a shop window. How do we get them to come in?
Yeah, you do the how. That's your storytelling. So you're trying to attract them to bring you in and say, tell us how. We want to know how you did that, and then back it up. So Malcolm says, I agree with Robert. The communication factor is an issue. You can't reach anyone anymore.
No, on that for Malcolm, what I would say is there are lots of tools now where you can have, like Chrome extensions, those kind of things, where you can get email addresses and you can get phone numbers. So, there are tools out there. Lusher is one.
Apollo the other day.
Yeah, Apollo. We've used Apollo.
Yeah.
All of these, Cognizant, Zoom Info, all of these tools, they're all plugins and Chrome extensions. They sit on top of someone's LinkedIn profile. If the email address is public in the public domain, it will recognize that. So, look, for the sake of 50 quid a month, get access to Lusher. Lusher's a good one. We use Lusher. And if the information is public, click on it. It's a Chrome extension. It will sit on Tom Wood. You'll see my email address. You'll see my mobile number. Contact them. Shut
up, dogs. Sorry. They're very angry about something or excited about Lusher or something. I don't know what it is. So Malcolm, Nicholas, so a lot more green banners. Yes, there has been a lot more green banners. I'm just seeing if there's any questions left to answer. Is this... Yes, possibly. I think we've answered that as well. I ran a test between Chat and Google LM on percentage fit of a role. Chat said 85%, LM said 95%. LM is obviously more of a fan. So I guess there's going to be a difference, isn't there, in how they do this? But how does that differ?
Yeah, it is. Every AI is different. Every AI is built in a different way. Everyone is. So we've countered that on ours by using multiple models, basically, because just one model, potentially you run the risk of potential bias, you run the potential risk of it, the way it's trained. So the best way is to go multiple models and let's create a general consensus. And that's the best way for us to do it because it just avoids any confusion.
Okay. Malcolm, final comment from Malcolm. I've noticed a lot of recruiters posting jobs are very young. I'm assuming that's recruiters, not the jobs are young. I've communicated with you and they sound inexperienced. I also know some senior recruiters who know exactly what they're doing. Is this a factor? I'm assuming that the more seniority you have, the more longer you've been doing it, the better you're going to be, and the more able you'll get. Especially we're talking about exec job seekers here as well. Just to be clear, so there's going to be very junior staff, but don't assume that just because they're junior, they're not brilliant. They might not be, but that isn't necessarily because they're junior. More information, more experience is always going to be a good thing.
I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because in the recruitment industry, corporate hiring, recruitment agencies, typically, the junior roles are sourcers. They're people that are going to be sourcing talent. They're going to be going for applications. They're going to be outreach. That's how you cut your teeth. And you know, people find that as a negative because, well, these are junior people. Again, it's this knowledge thing. So they aren't necessarily the person that is going to be talking to you. They aren't necessarily the person that's going to be taking you through the process. They're not the person that's going to be qualifying you. They're just doing that initial outreach. They're doing the initial posting, the initial kind of cast the net. When that comes in, people are going to step in. And there's pros and cons with that. I think the pros are it enables the junior people to cut their teeth and learn the trade and learn the industry. You know, the cons of that are, yeah, the negative impact to the outside world. Again, and this is kind of where there's a change happening in the industry. AI in most sectors, recruitment and talent, is taking those jobs. It is doing those jobs. So there's a good and a bad for that. The level of qualification at this entry level is going to be better. So AI is going to be able to qualify and identify people far better than a junior resourcer could. The negative is it's becoming harder now for people to get into the industry. How do we cut our teeth? Where do we go? But there's a reskilling and a redevelopment going on. People are going into more lead generation. They're going into more specific roles out of university rather than a resource or talent acquisition. So there is a bit of a transition here. But I think for the job searcher, look, you know, if it is a junior person reaching out, accept that, do you know what, that is the job they do, but it doesn't mean they're the ones that are going to be making decisions on the back end. It will probably be a more senior consultant, senior recruiter, senior talent acquisition. They'll be making the decisions. This person's just doing the outreach. Yeah, no, that's a really good note to finish on as well. Wow, you're incredible, an absolute font of knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us. There's some things that I've really taken away from this is that there's lots of things out there, tools, things like the hub that people could use, Talent Match for organizations that are watching. For businesses, recruitment companies, Please get in touch with Tom. Tom, if any questions come in on this, I mean, it's on your LinkedIn profile as well, this video, but if you can answer them, if you can share links to the hub. Absolutely. Lusher, I love that because it just sounds fun. Lush. And the biggest thing I've learned today is that we're all playing games, and that's okay. It's not really a game, it's just the way it is. And if we stop expecting perfection and just go with the flow and know that it's an open market and there's things that happen for us, against us on both sides, that's probably going to ease some of the pain. Thank you so much. Is there a final comment that you want to make to our execs leaders out there that are looking for jobs that might be helpful to them? No, I mean, look, it's an emotive process. You know, I always say that, you know, finding a job is up there with getting married, buying a house. It's that important, and there's emotion that, you know, all of these things come with it. So try not to let emotion run riot. Try to it's a process, you know. There is a process on both sides. Treat it like a job, and it's a job. It's a process. Try not to let it become too emotional, but treat it as a job and keep the focus. Ensure that you're being proactive. You're demonstrating that impact, that outcome. Whatever the job is, people care about impact, outcome. How can you help me? Are you my solution to a problem? What are you going to do for us? Treat it that way. You know, nobody cares about the niceties. Nobody cares about the how you did it. They want to know, what do you do? What are you going to help me with? How are you going to fix this problem? How are you going to solve this issue? Treat it that way, and your results will increase. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant thing to end on. Tom, you've been amazing. This is the first time I've met you, and I think you're an absolute joy and a complete gem, and I hope we get you on the show again. I'm sure there's going to be lots of requests for this, for another session with you, and people will start thinking about more questions. If you're not already linked into Tom, please do. As you've seen, he knows his onions, and he can really help you in lots of different ways. But that's all for now. Thank you so much. We're back as normal. Vanessa will be back with us next week. Tom, thank you. Everyone, absolute pleasure. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Cheers then.